What is our brain doing in the middle of a stressful event? What should we as parents remember as we and our kids enter higher stress levels in the coming weeks? What are a few small things we can do around our houses to create spaces for people to work, as well as spaces for people to relax in the coming weeks and months? Stay tuned to this episode of Cruising with the Kinders. We catch up with Debi Lynes to find out the answer to these questions and more. Hi everybody, I'm Brian Kindard, your trusted Hilton Head area realtor and 1/4 of Cruising with the Kinders, your guides to living, working, and playing in the Lowcountry. Coming to you today with my friend Dr. Debi Lynes to talk about what we could do as families in response to the COVID-19 virus that is affecting our entire country. Hi Debi.
How are you? I tell you what, this is perfect timing, Brian. First of all, I listened to him say, I am a fourth of Cruising with the Kinders.
Yeah.
So I have to say this. It's especially pertinent to now with COVID-19 because you guys just had a little baby boy about a week ago.
It added an extra layer to giving birth last week. I'm not gonna lie.
So we talk about practical things that we could do. My friend Carol, who has been my dear friend forever, called me today and she said, what are the viewing hours to see baby Cash Rafferty? And I think we laugh about it, but in times of high stress like this, we don't have to stop living. We just have to be a little more adaptive.
Yep.
And so for baby Cash and Clementine and Molly, even for me, what I do is we talk either Skype or FaceTime. We actually go to the front door and we look through the windows and wave because it's not about social isolation. It's really about social distancing and being wise about what we do. I don't want to lose connection from Clementine and from my family, but at the same time, safety really is paramount. And if we all just spend a little time right now distancing ourselves, it will save a whole lot of problems in the next coming months.
No, and speaking of that distancing, if you're noticing our audio is a little bit different this time, it's because we're a little bit further apart and further away from the camera than we would normally be in a taping situation. So Debi, real quick, before we get going any further, I know why I listen to you, because I learned real quick, that if I kept my wife happy, my mother happy, and my mother-in-law happy, my life is pretty well. But why don't you tell the viewers out there who may not know who you are, why we're in your wheelhouse of expertise as far as mental health and functional design concepts?
Well, I tell you what, my name is Dr. Debi Lynes, and I started my career as a teacher and then went into interior design. And then in my 40s, I went back and got my doctorate in psych. And for me, it all came together pretty clearly because my focus was on health and wellness and your home. And how psychology impacts the physical design of your space, and can your space and your home sanctuary actually improve your health and wellness? And we're seeing right now that it really can. More than ever, having your home as your sanctuary is the most important thing right now, especially in a time like this. And I think one of the things you wanted to chat about when we were kind of going over the agenda was, what can I do in my own home to create personal space?
What if we haven't created the sanctuary yet, right? And we need to do something, we need to take action now, right?
Absolutely. A couple of things are pretty easy to me, and that is, one, as much light as you can have.
I love it. So as soon as I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is go open up all the mini blinds.
Exactly. There's something called biophilia, Brian, and it means even if we can't go outside, we can create nature inside, and that's by exposing views. That's by bringing in some fresh flowers, raising herbs. I know it sounds silly to do these kinds of things, but honestly, they could make you feel so much better. The other thing is cooking. Create a space in your home where smells really feel good, right?
I think about it. When I walk in your house, it always smells like cookies or chicken. There's always something cooking around.
And I think that's just a sign of welcoming and feeling comfortable. And again, I think when people are really stressed, those are the kinds of things that can really help. Television, music, and we have so much technology at our fingertips. I think making use of that right now is really important. And again, when you're feeling stressed, there's nothing better than listening to music. And here's another thing, you guys. Open your windows. We've got everything from crows to cardinals to pileated woodpeckers in the yard, and there's nothing better.
So, Debi, now that we've talked about some ways to kind of create some spaces in our home, open the doors, windows, maybe get outside, take a walk, use technology for functional and productive purposes. What is our brain really doing in the middle of these stressful, unknown type events?
I tell you what's really interesting about our brain and stress. You know what our brain's really doing? It's helping us in this time. Remember, stress and anxiety are your brain's way of saying, alert.
Okay, survival.
Okay. It's a good thing. You know, I think we get freaked about it because it's not really a comfortable feeling, right? Don't like it. It's very disconcerting. But what it does for us is to keep us motivated, keep us on point, keep us on task.
Okay.
And so I think if we frame it as something that may be uncomfortable to feel, but in the long run can be really good and healthy for us, then I think that's the whole point of why our brains and our bodies do so well or have something called stress and anxiety. So in this case, with a virus, it's a really good and helpful thing. You talk about how to manage that. Okay, how to keep it from being overwhelming. Right. Here's my kind of down and dirty. As much as I want to stay up all night binge watching Netflix right now because I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I am trying my best to stay on my routine and my schedule. So sleep and sleep hygiene is number one.
Okay.
There are 4 things to manage stress, and when you feel that overwhelming sense, ask yourself this: am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? My assumption is halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. You're probably one of those 3 in this time. And if you realize that you are, you can shift that.
Right.
Look, I realize that I've been working or freaking out or doing this or that, and I really have gotten lousy sleep. Get good sleep. So again, there's something to be learned in these times, these unsettling times, and in the long run, they may actually be advantageous and help us be successful moving forward.
I always say that, I hate to use this analogy right now, but if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
That's right, and sometimes that's the truth.
I really find, like, Molly and I, our marriage and business and in my surfing and kite surfing and things like that, when I am at my most stressful and on point is when I'm doing my best work and learning the most.
One of the things that's really interesting, and kind of to bring it full circle to Hilton Head and the Lowcountry, is that as much stress as I feel and all of us feel now, walking outside for a few minutes, looking at the azaleas blooming, looking at the oak trees, even the Spanish moss. You know, it's time now to practice gratitude. And as much as things are uncertain right now, there's a lot to be grateful for. Even the fact that we're here in the Lowcountry. And I think that's something we listen to people in a lot of big cities, East and West Coast. And at the end of the day, I'm living on an island, okay? Whether it's here in Bluffton, anywhere in the Lowcountry. And I think it's a gift for us.
No, I do. I mean, I feel very fortunate. Sometimes I almost feel bad talking about it, right? Because we are so lucky. I mean, it was a choice we all made, and it's a give and takes, right?
That's
I mean, I always laugh that we left our good jobs in Houston to come here and be broke for a little while until we got going in real estate. Well, so in moving forward over the coming kind of weeks, I mean, this doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon from the stories I'm reading from credible sources and things like that. As our stress levels continue to ratchet up, I guess, what are some things we can do as parents? Because I know we're all joking it about already on Facebook and whatnot, but the jokes are going to cease eventually. The stress levels are going to get real, right?
Correct.
And we're going to need to remember as parents that our kids are stressed, we're stressed. What can we do as a family unit to kind of navigate through those times? Over and above, I guess, the 4. After we've checked and made sure everybody's not hungry,
angry, lonely, and tired.
Once we check those 4 things, what are some other things we can do to kind of deal with the stress?
I think acknowledge the fact that it's a stressful time. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
There's radical acceptance.
That's what you were telling me. Radical acceptance.
Sometimes we have to radically accept that there's nothing we can do. We have to move forward.
And that's bad for control freaks like us, right?
Oh, listen, I'm 66 and radical acceptance, every time I say the word, I'm like, oh. But I tell you what, once I say, okay, that's sort of what I did with the virus. Okay, it is what it is. I can fight it, I can ignore it, or I can radically accept that it is what it is, and I can do what I can do to keep you safe, your kids safe, my dad safe, the rest of my community safe. And really, it hasn't been that difficult because I feel like we're doing it for the good of the whole, and that's sort of a gift. Again, radical acceptance.
No, I agree, and you say, I mean, we have changed our life. I mean, it seems silly and whatnot, but you know, we're not seeing rail in person right now. I mean, everybody's hand sanitizing. We're not. I mean, it's real.
And I think if we pay attention and we're prudent with that, and we use our stress, wisely, we'll get through this. And I honestly believe we'll get through it with a stronger economy. I think Hilton Head will be more and more grateful that we live here. And really, we are such a dynamic environment and community. I'm watching people really support each other, which is a gift. And again, it makes us pay attention to the good stuff too.
Yep, it's no different than after Hurricane Matthew. It brought out the best in people, and I believe that I agree with you. I was laughing with a buddy on Facebook yesterday. I'm betting on humanity this time. I'm betting on humans to do the right thing, and that when all this passes, that we all get back to work and we get back to our new normal. And things are better. And
we grandmothers can hug our new babies. We can have Sunday dinners again and all the cool, groovy stuff that we love.
That's right.
So I appreciate you letting me kind of share my point of view.
Debbie, I really, really appreciate you sitting down with me. I know it is, sometimes it's easier to hear stuff from some of our peer groups. And I mean, we definitely appreciate that and everything you do for our community, and look forward to checking out Debbie on her Aging in Pace podcast. And anybody that lives here on Hilton Head knows they see Debbie on WHHI way more than me.
Yeah, I love it.
And until next episode of Cruising with the Kinards, stay tuned to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for fun and informative stories about living, working, and playing in the Lowcountry. Bye now.